Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So happy Sunday. We're about to start a new week, and today I want to talk about the possibility of Ripple settling with the SEC this week on December 15th. And what does that mean overall for crypto? The implications of whether or not they win or lose. Let's kind of discuss that. And also we have some major things happening this week in the U.S. So let me talk about what those things are. So welcome, guys. Welcome. I'll try to make today's stream short because I know a lot of you guys still watching the World Cup, football, basketball, a lot of things to watch on Sunday. But right now, Bitcoin is at 17.1 still. Not a whole lot of movement, but I do think this week could be absolutely insane because we have two things. One, a possibility, another that is a certainty will be happening this week. Well, first of all, let's get to this SEC news, okay? So who is the source? What is the source of this date, right? It comes from none other than Charles Hoskinson. Charles Hoskinson started this. He streamed and he's like, well, I heard rumors that this lawsuit or this settlement can be over December 15th. So Charles is actually the one that spread this. And I don't know who he heard it from, where he heard it from, right? But there is something going on the 15th. Okay, so the SEC does have a meeting on the 15th. So is this related to it? This is actually labeled the Sunshine Act meeting, so it sounds like it has nothing to do with Ripple, but there is something going on the 15th, and Charles confirmed that. So does this mean we're gonna get that settlement, right? Well, we'll wait and see. The 15th is Thursday, so it's coming up very soon. But what does this mean overall? Well, we know that SEC is led by Gary Gensler, right? And he is no fan of crypto. Even though he taught at MIT, and it seemed like he was the right man for the job. After he took over, he did like a 180. Basically, he thinks that everything is security. Even Ethereum. And even any project that's running on top of Ethereum is considered security because he thinks that since a lot of the processing power, okay, a lot of the stakers are in the U.S. Somehow that makes the Ethereum, the whole network, under the purview of his jurisdiction, controlled by the U.S., and they're all securities. I mean, he's really stretching it, and no one wants that, okay? No one wants him to get more power. So unfortunately, if the SEC wins this outright and forces Ripple and, to... First of all, they're trying to take down Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse, so that's separate. But also to declare Ripple a security, right? The implications of that is major because there's really no one else in this space that has the resources to be able to fight the SEC. So absolutely no one will want that, and it will be devastating to the entire community because afterwards, then he has all the authority he needs to go after every single project out there, right? So that's bad. But on the other hand, if let's say Ripple doesn't win, but Ripple settles, they settle with a slap on the wrist fine, kind of like EOS and Tezos and a few others. They were slapped with a small fine and then away they went. If it happens again, that will be a major win for all of crypto, right? This is why I'm rooting for Ripple to win this case. Because that means that Gary gets humbled a little bit, gets pushed back a little bit, right? And he'll think maybe for a minute longer the next time he wants to go after a company. So I think it's going to be absolutely huge. How this relates to XRP, obviously, if they settle, XRP is going to go flying higher. If they don't and they cave in, well, it's go dump down. But it's not just for XRP. I think everything will be affected by this, obviously, right? So we'll see. Is this really going to happen this soon, December 15th, right? We don't know. We don't know. Speculation. But Charles somehow has some kind of inside info. So I guess we'll just see if it comes true. All right. So that's the first thing I want to talk about that's happening this week. What about the other thing? Well, there's a lot of other things this week, economic stuff in the U.S. If you look at, there's Powell. Powell is going to decide 50 basis points or 75 basis points. And right before he decides, there will be another CPI reading, and the data will be released this Tuesday. Okay? So on Monday, we're going to get some 1-year, 5-year New York Fed expectations for inflation. But really, Tuesday is going to be absolutely huge. Tuesday is going to measure the core inflation and overall inflation of November, right? So we want to see it continue tapering out in terms of inflation. We saw that happen in October. Okay, we don't want it to reverse and all of a sudden show that inflation is skyrocketing in November again. We don't want to see that. We want to see it taper down, right? This is going to be very crucial. And then on Wednesday, Powell is going to have that meeting. Now, almost everyone thinks it's a lock right now for 50 basis points. Okay, CME and others are kind of guessing, and they're all guessing right now 50 basis points, which is good. Step in the right direction. Even though this may be priced in, I do think markets will still rally because they think this is a precursor to the future rate hikes that's coming in 2023, which should all be 50 basis points or lower. But the only thing that will change this is if that CPI data report on Tuesday shows that inflation is going up, well, then get ready. You need to strap on because this will flip really quickly to 75 basis points, and it's going to get bumpy. It's going to get real, real bumpy. So fingers crossed that inflation has not gotten any worse. I guess we'll see. I don't think it will get worse. I think it's going to come in line with expectation, maybe even a little bit lower than expectation, right? But I don't think it's going to get worse. But I've been known to be wrong sometimes. And others, like Elon, says that, hey, he's giving a warning to Fed Chair Powell. Don't raise rates. Don't raise it anymore because you're going to greatly amplify recession if you do. And many people feel this way. Many people feel we had too many rate hikes already. The Fed fund rate is plenty high, especially after this next one, this 50 basis points, which will push us to 4.25, anywhere 4.25 to 4.5. This happened within a very short amount of time. Normally speaking, banks or central banks do not raise rates this fast. So many people are afraid that we may be thrown into deeper recession if this continues and accelerates, right? So big week. Big week. The Ripple settlement, now we have this, right? Absolutely big week. But as for Bitcoin, though, it's been boring. It's been going sideways. Even though the U.S. market has been devastated this last week, Bitcoin is holding at 17,000. And that's because there's so many that are still holding on, DCAing, and according to a lot of these metrics, still prime time to be DCAing. Hasn't changed. Still looking good. Price drawdown from all-time high, right? History doesn't always repeat, but it tends to rhyme, and this is one of those situations. You look at previous drawdowns, previous corrections, previous bottoms. 2012, 93% drop down or a drawdown. Then in 2015, you had an 85% drawdown. In 2018, 2019, you had almost 84% drawdown. This time around, we're at 77%. So very, very close. Of course, the drawdown should not be equal, should be getting less and less as time goes on because the market is bigger and there's more holders. So it makes sense, right? And it's the same thing in reverse. The tops also diminishes. You don't have the same 10,000% growth of every single top, but you still have substantial tops, or substantial rises, I should say, right? So you got a lot of these, right? I should just keep my camera off for now. So you got a lot of these. This one is measuring percent supply and profit. Very little is in profit right now, but that's okay. Whenever this happens, that means it's a reversal point. Here's another one, profit to value ratio. I mean, I can show you guys this all day long in terms of where we are right now with Bitcoin and where we were with these previous drawdowns and bottoms. And the similarities are uncanny right now in terms of, yes, we're at one of those points that Bitcoin is very, very, very likely to be turning around. Here's an interesting one too. Price weighted by MVRV, Z-score. It looks a whole lot like the stock to flow model, right? Looks a lot like it. But again, is this showing that we're overcooled or oversold? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. And then anything else going on today? Well, we have Turkey. Turkey, a country that suffers from hyperinflation. They are definitely turning to crypto, but they have an obsession with Dogecoin. A lot of newcomers that I talk to, they all say they have Dogecoin or sheep. You know, as much as people like to bash on them, say that they're meme coins and they don't do anything, you got to give them this. They do draw in an enormous amount of people into crypto. There's an enormous amount of people that hold Doge. That's why they're in the top, wherever they are, top 10. Yeah, they're sitting at number 8. And then there's the Elon effect, because Elon, you know, Elon's going to do something with Doge. He's still trying to figure it out with Twitter right now, but he's going to figure it out. So there's that. Also, Axie Infinity has been coming up a little bit because they are, they're releasing their Origins Season 2. I'm not even familiar with Axie in terms of these Season 1, Season 2s, but I do know a lot of people are still playing Axie, so they are still doing just fine, and they have come up a little bit recently. And then also, as for some SBF, FTX, Caroline news, Caroline hired, she's going all out. She's hiring the previous co-head of the SEC. That's pretty serious. That's pretty serious. So the fact that she has to hire someone that's a prior head of the SEC shows that, first of all, she could afford them. And second of all, that she knows she's in some serious trouble. So there's that. And also, SBFs Parents, who both were professors at Stanford, they are no longer on the roster. They're no longer teaching. And you get it, right? There's too much scrutiny. No one's going to be paying attention in class, right? So there's that. And then lastly, Cathie Wood. Cathie Wood says the Bitcoin blockchain didn't skip a beat during the crisis, right? No wonder SBF didn't like Bitcoin. He couldn't control it. And that's true. That's true. So, all right. That's it. Let's do some Q&A. I got two viewers on Twitch right now. All right. Scrolling up here. Let's see. The real football is today. All right, there's a lot of jokes about Gary. Not going to repeat them. Let's see here. Yes, I'm still on Rumble. You know, Rumble is interesting. Rumble, sometimes they put your videos on the front page and you get a lot of views. When they don't, you don't get a lot of views. Right now, there's 25 people on Rumble watching. But when they put my videos on the front page, it's like 1,000 people. Make a big difference. Yeah, but I've been testing out live streaming to other platforms. Of course, none comes close to YouTube right now. But I'm curious when Elon opens up long-form videos and opens up monetization on Twitter, whether or not that's going to have some kind of effect. What do you think about Flavio asked about what do you think about DeFi and Bitcoin's network? Very little of it. And it utilizes layer 2s and utilizes mostly stacks to make that happen. And stacks utilizes Ethereum. So essentially it's creating like a layer 2 Ethereum on top of Bitcoin. So, you know, stuff like that is going to happen. I do think that there will be more innovation that comes to Bitcoin, of course, right? But ultimately, I think Bitcoin is just going to be a store of value. I think it's going to be the ultimate store of value. So not to take away from it. I mean, just to be a store of value is a great thing. I think everything else will be relying on some other kind of chain, some other token. But Bitcoin is going to be the greatest store of value that we have in our generation. Dr. Tor, no, that's not actually true. Library is not the only case that the SEC has handled. Library was a small project, so they lost. But all the major projects SEC went after, look at when they went after EOS. EOS raised $4 billion in ICO, and they paid like a $10 million fine. They're fine. Tezos went through the same thing. Kin went through the same thing. There's been plenty of cases where the SEC has lost. James, I know you're not a CPA, but my friend is sending BTC to his cousin's ledger who does not have a bank account and he uses it for gambling sites. Any blowback from my friend even though he does not have that BTC anymore? Well, I mean, you're basically gifting it to someone, right? The IRS, if you're in the U.S., I'm not a CPA, but this is what I know. The IRS only allows you to gift someone up to, I think, $10,000, something like that. So beyond that, that's it. I mean, the reason why I mentioned that is because the friend he sent it to that's using a gambling sites, he technically has to declare taxes. So if he receives more than $10,000 in Bitcoin, then that's counted as income. So then he's supposed to declare that. The one that's sending, you could say, yeah, you sent it off, but you have to prove, I guess, if you get audited, what that's for, right? Is it for a service? Is it for a business? If you're just sending it for the sake of sending it, you know, they're not gonna like that. So, yeah. That's assuming. I think most people just assume, well, you know, it's all on addresses that IRS doesn't know. It's anonymous. They'll never be able to track it, right? And everyone thinks that at first, until later on, you know, if they have to cash out or the IRS targets them, then they go look at all their previous histories and transactions, and they can see that very, very easily. So. Has anyone seen the Algorand advertisement during the World Cup? I have not. I have not watched any, so can't say that I have. BTC is better than gold? Yes, of course. As Michael Saylor has said in the past, BTC is pharmaceutical gold. It has all the benefits, none of the negatives. And that's true. Jim K. I am on Rumble right now. I'm on all three. Although Twitch is just a big failure right now. Oh, I got 5 viewers on Twitch. Yay. Can XRP hit 1,000 in the future? No, it cannot. Why is an FTT at 0? You know why? Because FTX still holds 75% of FTT and they're not selling. That's probably why. I mean, people didn't realize how much of the overall circulating supply or total supply FTX themselves holds. So that's why. And there's no one that's shorting it anymore because there's no liquidity anywhere. The Twitch account is still the same. It's the same name, CryptosRUs, so you should be able to find it. Let's see. Pet says IRS may find something suspicious if you have a yacht on a 40,000 a year income. Yeah, stuff like that. Jackson says, why do you hate traders? My full-time job that took me years of struggle to be successful. I don't hate traders. Why do you, just because I am not a trader doesn't mean I hate traders. There are traders that are successful. There's no doubt about it. But you got to be very, 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 very good at what you do. You got to be very good at what you do. In fact, my wife right now is trading Tesla successfully. She got taught by my best friend, and you know she's doing quite well. She's not day trading, more like swing trading with options, and she's doing so quite successfully. But most do not do it successfully. That's the thing. Most do not have the patience or time or dedication to be able to be successful with it. Some get lucky with a few trades, then it makes them more greedy, and then they lose heavily on their next few trades because they think they're a genius because they made some good trades. So I've talked to many, many, many people that have told me the same thing and told me that had I just held on rather than trade, I would be up a whole lot more. And it's the same case with me. That's why I don't trade. All right. I see those comments. I'm not going to repeat them. Can Hashgraph replace blockchain? No. You mean DAG, right? I don't think it could replace it. It just supplements it. It's another version. Man, I was scared. I was scared at that global market cap. I'm like, why? I must have not refreshed. It was 800 something. I just saw it 700 something. I refreshed. I'm like, man, the market didn't go down. Plus, another thing with trading is you have to worry about short-term capital gains. So you're paying whatever your income bracket is, could be 25, 30, 35, 37%. Every single trade, you have to worry about taxes. Long-term holders, if you're not selling, you're not paying any taxes. Take on Maker. When we get over 6K again, I never liked Maker. I didn't quite understand why it pumped in the first place, Benjamin. Maker has algorithmic stablecoin DAI that has a collateral of other. I mean, people have to basically put down collateral to borrow, to mint and borrow DAI. There's still some kind of mechanism, so it's still algorithmic based. And there's been times where there were so much liquidations, it like kind of, I don't know, the price dropped so much that their normal liquidation event didn't even kick in. I mean, there's been times like that with Ethereum. I don't know. I just, it's not something that I would be interested in. It's basically saying that Tether or iFinix has a token, and you're investing in iFinix. Like, I don't know why you would invest in a stablecoin Maker, I guess. That's what investing in Maker is. I think it's just this better place. Just wondering if that messes up his buy price since he gifted it. I suppose he did not sell it. There's no transaction. If you give it to someone, then basically you're saying it's not yours anymore, right? So it's at zero now, right? But again, will the IRS believe that? Because if they track it and the friend that he gives it to gives it right back to him, they're going to see all that. They're going to see all that. So remember, nothing can be hidden on the blockchain. Everything is very, 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 very trackable, traceable, and transparent. So I put you on the spot. Is POS legit? Yes. No one has said anything otherwise that makes me think, no, it's not legit. What are your thoughts on Anchor? Well, obviously, they just had that big hack. And I've never been a fan of them. They offer a whole bunch of liquid staking options, and you can run your nodes. You can run various nodes by renting it from Anchor. But again, it's the project that I feel like there's better plays. Okay, like I would not. If you want to run a node, you can run it easily. You don't have to rent it from them. And all this liquid staking, right? I don't feel like liquid staking is necessary. It's like a derivative on top of staking, right? And we have seen liquid staking synthetic tokens depegging from their normal values, and that leads to more problems, right? I just feel like liquid staking and synthetic tokens leads to more problems than it helps. So, not a fan. Do alts usually break their previous alt highs during bull runs? Yes, only if they continue to build and continue to educate and communicate with their community. A lot of people go dark. A lot of these projects go dark. So, but a lot don't. Like Charles, for example, still doing streams all the time to educate people on Cardano, even though there may be nothing to talk about. But he's reassuring people that development is happening, they're moving forward, right? That's what you want to do if you're a leader of a project. So many others, there'll be times where, you check out their Medium blog. They go for like 12 months without putting a blog because, they're just not good at that. So some will succeed, some will not. Thoughts on Robinhood's 3.75 on cash account and federally insured up to 250. Yeah, federally insured is 250, yes. But 3.75 is not in. I mean, there's CDs out there that provide pretty great interest now. I think it's like 4%. CDs have gone up a lot. So right now, it's because the Fed fund rate is so high. Banks can no longer borrow at near 0% from each other and from the Fed. So now they're paying out interest because they want money from consumers, right? So if you really think it's worth it, but otherwise, I think having cash on hand right now is very, very important. Not just for crypto, but for equities, for everything else. Who knows what's going to happen in the first half of 2023? I think it's going to get better, but who knows? Maybe things get worse, right? You want to have that cash on hand to be able to DCA over long term and to buy the dips. Kelly, thank you. So Charles Hoskinson was discussing Jesus earlier in his live stream. Should I be worried about ADA's price? I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you believe XRP can win? I do believe Ripple can win. I believe Ripple has everything they need to win, other than the SEC and Gary declares Ethereum security. If they do that right before the settlement, then Ripple's case goes out the window. I think that's the only thing that SEC has. Any difference between ERC20 and ERC20 network? No, it's the same. It's just it's the same thing. Same thing. Should SBF get life in prison or 20 years? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, like, what's appropriate for these kind of white-collared kind of crimes, right? You see, like, Elizabeth Holmes got 11 years. I don't know what Bernie got. But, like, you know, some of these major white-collar crimes, I don't know what the appropriate number of years is. Why was SBF so bullish on Solana in particular? I think he just thought that he could control it. He invested in Solana. FTX invested in Solana along with a lot of people very early on, right? And then he just like, hey, I just refused to give up on it when other people sold out. So he thought that he could control it by just buying a whole lot of SOL. And he did in a way. He propped it up and made it one of the biggest chains of 2021. I don't even know what Bernie got sentenced to. I mean, he was already old. It's different with SBF. I think he barely just hit 30. I think he's 31 or something like that. So he has still many years of his life left. But you know, you just don't know. Look at Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. Right? Whatever, right? He seems to have made a name for himself now, right? After the movie, he got famous. It seems like he's somehow some kind of financial guru again, right? All over social media, people have forgotten about the fact that he committed fraud. He frauded a whole bunch of people, right? And somehow people have just forgotten about it. I don't know how much time he served. I think it was like 10 years or maybe less than 10 years. He was shitting on Bitcoin before too. When he got out, I remember covering all these stories and quotes about him saying, well, you know, trust me, I know, right? I know Bitcoin's a big Ponzi. Just, you know, trust me because I created Ponzi's before, so I know what it's, you know, it takes one to know one. Like he was using himself as an example. And then all of a sudden he turned to crypto when it was getting hot. In 2021, him and everyone else jumped on a bandwagon. And, you know, it's like people have short memories, I guess. Hey, 11 viewers on Twitch now and 35 on Rumble. It's a start. It's a start. Are you using a New York Starbucks cup? No, I have. We've been collecting a lot of Starbucks cups, but I don't have a New York one. I have not been to New York City. Me personally, I have never been to New York City ever. I've been to New York, other parts of New York, but not New York City. Someday. Start streaming on TikTok. I have tried. TikTok sucks because after you stream live, it doesn't make it into a set video. It just disappears. And right now, TikTok, I have experimented with TikTok a long time. TikTok is great for users within TikTok. It's horrible for people. If you're trying to use it as a funnel into your other social media platforms, it's horrible for that. New York as a whole. What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? All right, guys. So we got a big week coming up. Big week coming up. Tuesday, Wednesday, CPI and Chair Powell. Those are big events. And then, of course, Thursday, we may have that settlement, right? So let's see what happens. It's going to be a wild and volatile week for sure. Stay strong, my friends. I will see you guys tomorrow. Market open stream, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time tonight. I'll have a market recap video for you guys. I know some of you guys enjoy that. You may have missed a lot of stuff that happened this week, so look for that as well. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.